Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving into a topic that's both unsettling and strangely captivating. The last meals of some of the world's most notorious serial killers. It's a morbid curiosity, right? What goes through someone's mind moments before they face their own mortality? Is it remorse, defiance, or maybe just a simple desire for one last taste of comfort? We often hear about death row inmates requesting extravagant or bizarre final meals, but when it comes to serial killers, whose crimes have shocked and horrified the world, their last meal choices take on an even darker significance. So get ready to grab your snacks, because today we're delving into the stories of 10 serial killers and the meals they chose to consume before their final breaths. Buckle up, because some of these stories are truly unsettling. Ted Bundy. The name alone sends shivers down your spine. This charming, seemingly normal law student captivated and then brutally murdered at least 30 young women in the 1970s. Can you believe that? He was like a monster hiding in plain sight. Now for his last meal, Bundy declined a special request, opting instead for the standard prison meal of steak, eggs, hash browns, toast with butter and jelly, milk and juice. Some say this was his way of appearing normal, even in his final moments. But let's be real. Nothing about Ted Bundy was normal. He lured his victims with his charm, often feigning injury or impersonating authority figures. He was a master manipulator, and his crimes absolutely horrific. He often decapitated his victims, keeping their severed heads as trophies. It's chilling to think that this seemingly ordinary meal was the last thing that touched his lips before he was executed in 1989. John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown, is another name that haunts our nightmares. This seemingly friendly face of the community, often dressed as Pogo the Clown for children's parties, was responsible for the deaths of at least 33 young men and boys. He buried most of his victims in the crawl space under his house. Can you imagine the horror of that discovery? Gacy's last meal was a bit more indulgent. He requested a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, a dozen fried shrimp, a pound of strawberries, and a Diet Coke. It's almost like he was throwing himself a morbid Last Supper. What's even more disturbing is that Gacy was known for running a successful catering business. He actually cooked and served food to people, all while hiding this incredibly dark secret. In 1994, Gacy was executed by lethal injection, his crimes leaving an unforgettable stain on American history. Aileen Wuornos, one of the few female serial killers, lived a turbulent and tragic life. She claimed that the 7 men she killed, all of whom she picked up while working as a prostitute, were murdered in self-defense. Whether you believe her or not, her story is a tragic one. Wuornos's last meal was a far cry from the indulgent requests of some other killers on our list. She declined a special meal, instead opting for just a cup of coffee. Some say this was a sign of her troubled mental state, while others believe it was a final act of defiance. What makes Wuornos's story even more haunting is that she was abandoned by her parents as a child and experienced abuse and hardship throughout her life. Her story raises questions about the role of trauma and circumstance in shaping a killer. Aileen Wuornos was executed in 2002, her case sparking debates about capital punishment and the complexities of female serial killers. Chapter 4: The Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh's chilling choice. Timothy McVeigh, the man responsible for the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing, committed an act of terrorism that shook America to its core. The bombing, which killed 168 people, including 19 children, was the deadliest act of domestic terrorism in US history. For his last meal, McVeigh requested 2 pints of mint chocolate chip ice cream. No remorse, no last words to his victims' families, just a simple request for a sweet treat. It's almost too chilling to comprehend. McVeigh's actions were driven by anti-government extremism, and his case remains a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of hate and radicalization. He was executed by lethal injection in 2001, his name forever etched in the annals of American tragedy. Chapter 5: The Vampire of Dusseldorf. Peter Kürten's last indulgence. Peter Kürten, known as the Vampire of Dusseldorf, terrorized Germany in the late 1920s. He was a sadist who committed a string of murders, often drinking the blood of his victims. His crimes were fueled by a perverse lust for power and control. For his last meal, Curtin requested a lavish spread of fried potatoes, Vienna schnitzel, a bottle of white wine, and a fried egg. It was a feast fit for a king, a stark contrast to the terror he inflicted on his victims. Curtin's case is a chilling reminder of the darkness that can reside within the human soul. He was executed by guillotine in 1931, his reign of terror finally brought to an end. Chapter 6. The Death Row. Granny Velma Barfield's Final Feast. Velma Barfield, dubbed the Death Row Granny, was one of the few female serial killers to face execution in the United States. She was convicted of poisoning her fiancé, but she was also suspected of killing her mother and 2 previous husbands. Barfield's last meal request was surprisingly simple: a bag of cheese balls and a can of Coca-Cola. It's a meal that seems more fitting for a child than a convicted killer. Her case is a reminder that evil can lurk behind the most unassuming facades. Velma Barfield was executed by lethal injection in 1984. Chapter 7. Ricky Ray Rector's case is a complex one, fraught with controversy over his mental competency. Convicted of murder, Rector's last meal request was a pecan pie that he famously saved for later, stating that he was saving it for later. This act, whether intentional or due to his mental state, sparked debate about the ethics of capital punishment for individuals with intellectual disabilities. Rector was executed by lethal injection in 1992, his case leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions. Chapter 8. Stephen Wayne Anderson, a killer's final act of defiance. Stephen Wayne Anderson, a career criminal convicted of burglary and murder, chose a final meal that reflected his defiant attitude. He requested a single pint of cottage cheese. This unconventional choice, devoid of any traditional comfort food, seemed to underscore his lack of remorse for his crimes. Anderson was executed by lethal injection in 1993. Chapter 9. Robert Alton Harris, a last meal marred by controversy. Robert Alton Harris's case sparked outrage and debate over the botched execution he endured. Convicted of murder, Harris requested and consumed a last meal of a 21-piece bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, 2 large Domino's pizzas, a bag of jelly beans, a 6-pack of Pepsi, and a pack of Camel cigarettes. However, his execution was marred by complications, leading to a prolonged and agonizing death. Harris's case brought the issue of humane execution methods to the forefront of public discussion. Chapter 10. Angel Neves Diaz, a refusal and a statement. Angel Neves Diaz, convicted of murder, made a powerful statement with his final meal choice. He refused to request one. His decision to decline a last meal was seen by some as a final act of defiance, a refusal to participate in the rituals surrounding his execution. Diaz's case, like many others on this list, ignited debate about the morality and effectiveness of capital punishment. He was executed by lethal injection in 2006. It's unsettling, isn't it? These glimpses into the final moments of some of the world's most notorious killers. Their last meal choices, whether extravagant or simple, offer a strange and often disturbing insight into their psyche. Do these meals reveal remorse, defiance, or just a desire for one last taste of comfort? It's a question that continues to fascinate and haunt us. Don't forget to hit that like button if you found this video intriguing, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of true crime. Let me know in the comments which case you found the most unsettling and why. And stay tuned, because next week we're diving into the unsolved mysteries that continue to baffle investigators. You won't want to miss it.